Hi, my name is Dr. Marcello Sbrocca, and in this video I'm going to be demonstrating some exercises that you can practice on the saxophone to help improve tone quality and ease of playing. Now, before I get started, I just want to clarify that these exercises are not entirely original to me. I believe most of them came from Joseph Allard, who was a saxophone and clarinet professor at the Juilliard School a long time ago. But I chose to make this video anyway because I wanted to show my interpretation and give my own explanation of these exercises. So all of these exercises work primarily your embouchure, your voicing, and your air pressure, you could say. Embouchure is how we wrap our mouth around the mouthpiece. Voicing is how we use all the musculature in the inside of our mouth in the same way that we talk and speak to funnel air into the mouthpiece. And then air pressure is just, how hard or soft are you blowing into the instrument. So the first set of exercises will be with the mouthpiece and the neck. I like to start with these ones because I think they're some of the more basic ones, and they are on the easier side compared to the exercises we'll do in a minute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play the mouthpiece and the neck just like this, and I'm going to sustain the note while I open the octave key and then shut it. And in doing this, I'm trying to find the right place for my voicing and the right amount of pressure with my embouchure and the right amount of air pressure to use to be able to sustain that note. Now, if you notice, as I added the octave key, or as I opened the octave key and then shut it, I tried really hard to keep the sound from breaking or cutting out as I transitioned to playing the neck with the octave key open. With all of these exercises, you want to try to do them as seamlessly as possible and as effortlessly. If you're having to force anything, chances are you're still figuring it out or you're just doing it wrong. These exercises should be done with ease, and you should not have to force any of them. If you're doing this exercise incorrectly, it might sound like this. Basically, what was happening there was when I opened the octave key, the sound cut out. Either because I wasn't blowing hard enough, or my voicing wasn't quite right, or I'm using too much pressure or too little pressure with my embouchure. So all of these exercises are trial and error kind of exercises that you have to figure out. The next exercise we'll do with the neck and the mouthpiece is where we will, by using our voicing and using different air pressure, I'm going to try and hit multiple notes in the harmonic series of the neck. I'll demonstrate. Now, if you can only hit that first note, or if you struggle a lot to just hit that first note, that's okay. The goal is to hit those three notes. But if you've never done this before, you may spend a lot of time just trying to get that first note, which is completely okay. All I'm doing when I do that is I'm changing the air pressure and I'm changing my voicing to get the note to jump up. I'm actually not really changing my embouchure at all. A lot of these exercises require a stable embouchure that is not too tight, but a lot of manipulation with air and voicing. The next exercises that I'm going to do are going to be with the mouthpiece alone. Now you may be asking, why did I not start with these? And the reason why I did not start this demonstration of exercises with the mouthpiece and then add the neck on and play the saxophone all together is because I find that playing the mouthpiece by itself is actually kind of discouraging if you've never done it before. It's a little uncomfortable and it's very shrill and loud. If you've never done this, if you've never played the mouthpiece by itself before, I suggest you try and hit the mouthpiece pitch for your mouthpiece. Now that has nothing to do with brand, that has only to do with which saxophone you're playing, a soprano, alto, tenor, or baritone. On a soprano mouthpiece, the mouthpiece pitch should be an E, and on alto, it should be a C. And you can have a drone out or go over to a piano and hit that note and try to hit that note consistently. You want that to be kind of your resting pitch. You really want it to be consistent. So I'm going to play that note and I'm going to bend the pitch down and come back up. Now this is just like whistling. I'm not changing my embouchure, I'm just using my tongue and putting it in, moving it around in my mouth to bring the pitch down and bring it back up. Again, it's just like whistling. Now if you want, you can get carried away with these and you can try and get over this exercise and you can try to get a full octave and you can try to play a scale and you can try to do thirds or fourths or something like that. I find that getting a full octave is quite difficult. Towards the bottom, when you try to get the full octave, it does, you have to kind of put your embouchure in a position you may never really use when you play, but it might be fun in trying to figure the exercise out. But in my opinion, if you can get at least a fifth, then you're doing well, which would be this. Or you can do, thirds or mess around or anything. Or I'll just bend it down to an octave and come back up. So anyway, just some ideas of things you can practice on the mouthpiece. Now the next, the last set of exercises we're going to do are going to be on the saxophone fully assembled. These exercises will generally go from easy to hard. First, I'm going to work the middle register. And how that's going to be is I'm going to play a middle C down to a middle B flat, so just a couple notes, and I'm going to finger down an octave while sustaining that note. I'll demonstrate. And I'm going to do this without the octave key. I'm going to do this without changing my embouchure. This is just a voicing and air pressure thing. And if you're going back and forth between fingerings, you can always leave your pinky keys down if you want, like this. Just like when I was playing the neck earlier, you want that in between the different fingerings, you want it to be as seamless as possible. You want there to be no break in between the different fingerings, to the best of your ability. I'll just work my way down. Chances are, if you've never done these exercises before, you're going to have to spend a lot of time on just one note. I'm just going through all of them quickly to just give an idea of what they might sound like for you. Now I'm going to go to the upper register of the saxophone, starting on an F a middle F natural, and I'm going to finger down a fifth. The reason why I don't start any lower than that is because if you finger down lower than an E, then there's no note to play. So a fifth down from F natural is B flat. And of course the saxophone doesn't go any lower than that. So this exercise should be like this. And again, I'm not using the octave key. And then I can just take this and apply it to the rest of the saxophone going upwards, which I'll do in a moment. But before I do that, I just want to explain that the reason why I start at the higher note and then finger down, rather than fingering the lower note and trying to voice it up, is because I find that when you start with the lower fingering and go up, it just teaches people to bite. So again, that's why I start with the upper fingering and then go down. I'm going to try and go all the way up. And again, spend as much time as you want on a note, if you need to, on any single note. You'll find that this exercise does not get difficult in a linear way. Some notes, like I find in between, when sounding a high C and fingering down to an F, and a C sharp down to an F sharp, or a B down to an E, that area I find to be the most difficult. And then actually towards the upper end, it gets quite a bit easier. And to those who are listening closely, you can hear that towards the end, instead of the fingerings being about the same pitch, they end up being a half step or so apart. So instead of the overtone fingering being a fifth apart from what it's sounding, it ends up being a sixth. But that's not important, because the point of basically all of these exercises is about finding the correct voicing and embouchure and air pressure position that makes the saxophone the most resonant. However, typically where there is a beautiful sound, there tends to be good pitch. So I believe all of these exercises will help you play more in tune, even though while doing them, pitch is not so important. Now, the last of the kind of manipulative exercises I'm going to do is going to be me playing the lower register with the octave key on. So I'm going to finger a middle C sharp, and I add the octave key and take it off. I'm going to go all the way down to a low B flat. This is, in my opinion, the hardest exercise of all the exercises I've shown in this video, and it might take quite a while just to get one note if you've never done them before, or done this exercise before. If you can get down to a G, I think that's pretty good, but just like the other exercises, if you want to go all the way, that's fine too. So some of those notes didn't come out exactly as I wanted them to, but I'm just kind of going through them quickly. But this exercise can be quite difficult. So if you need to spend a lot of time on one note, to me that would be very normal. The last exercise I'm going to show is actually a really good way to warm up, and that is by playing the saxophone without your upper lip on the mouthpiece. The point of this exercise is it's preventing you from having an embouchure that's too tight, and it's checking if your voicing is well enough aligned that even though a bunch of air is escaping out of the top of the mouthpiece, that the instrument will still sound. And you can go all the way up to the high register and down to the low register. And that concludes all of the exercises that I would like to show in this video. To wrap up, I just want to reiterate a couple points and then explain a couple issues that I find with my students that I've had in the past who have tried to master these exercises. So I just want to reiterate that none of these exercises should be forced. Some of them can be very difficult, some may require a lot of air, but you should never be forcing them. If you're having to force them, you're either not there yet or you're just straight up doing it wrong. Another issue is people will change their equipment just to make these exercises easier. These exercises may inform you as to what's a better setup for you, but you shouldn't try and cheat these exercises. There's just no benefit to it. It's surprising how some of these exercises are a lot easier with a soft reed and some of them are a lot easier with a hard reed. But you need to kind of just use your normal setup to do them. The last issue I find with these exercises is people will focus on them too much, and it will take their attention away from actually trying to understand the piece of music that they're playing, or it'll take them away from playing with ensemble work, or playing on stage or whatever. These exercises are here to help you play better so that you can focus on the other aspects of music. Which brings me to a point I meant to mention earlier, which is how often should you play these exercises? In my opinion, you should do them as much or as little as you want. When I first started practicing them, I wanted to do them all day. I was doing them a couple hours a day, and I found them to be a lot of fun, and I found them to be very beneficial. But as time went on, I just didn't need to spend as much time on them. And you might feel the same way. But that's a good sign, because if you don't need to spend that much time on them, chances are you've kind of internalized some of the lessons that are to be learned from them, and you've created some good habits, allowing you to then focus more on your interpretation of a piece, or what's the musical style, or collaborating with other people, or what have you. So hopefully these exercises are beneficial to you and lead you to a better place with the saxophone. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below. Thank you so much for watching.